Dum. Do 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 do. Ah. Ugh. Word up, my fellow humans, my fellow human beings, really, earth creatures, whoever you are. I would imagine that you, or some of you, like me, actually prefer animals over most humans, but we're not going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about something else that has completely fried my brain. So I'm still trying to figure out what this thing is, and I realize that at this point I'm making this for myself, because so far as I know, no one is watching it, which is cool. It's cool. I don't blame you. Candle. Just smell the candle. It's a couple candles mixed together, actually. Anyway, I'm going to try to focus. So I'm still trying to figure out what this thing that I'm doing is. And I know that I repeat myself a lot. I said that the last time. I'm also pretty sure there was bourbon involved in the last video. But, okay, hold on. A few housekeeping things. I have a friend who hates that expression. A few housekeeping things before we get into this. Number one, I'm thinking about titling this series Wandering Focus for two reasons. Because number one, my focus tends to wander, but number two, my freaking camera's focus tends to wander as well. So as I was looking through some of the past videos that I've shot, it struggles to focus on my face. It struggles to tell the difference between my face and my cat's butthole. So I'm not sure what that says about me or about my camera or about my cat's butthole, if you know what I mean. Hey, Chuck. My cat just got here and he's rubbing himself against me. He's petting himself with my body, which, if he wasn't a cat, would absolutely be harassment. But since we all know that cats are harassers in general, it's acceptable, I suppose. So apologies for the wandering focus, but it is what it is. There's no way I can change that at this point. I mean, there is. I could just delete everything that I've shot and reshoot it, but I'm not going to do that because no. A second bit of housekeeping. Maybe there's only one bit of housekeeping. All right, all the housekeeping is done. Clean house. Right, so as I've mentioned before, I repeat myself a lot, so I'm about to repeat myself again. Actually, that was repeating myself, but I'm going to repeat myself again right now and say that I have been in the process of writing a book series for a while. And I am learning as I go, and I'm trying to figure all this shit out. Writing the book is actually the easy part for me. It's everything else that is complicated. And that's what I'm getting to, what I've done today. That is challenging for me. I will tell you that some of the biggest challenges I have are balancing my writing life with my professional life or my personal life. All of those things, I'm a freelancer, I'm a freelance videographer, so all of those things are kind of melted into a puddle anyway. So my business life, yeah, it's business, but I work with friends. I build the types of relationships with my clients that feel like friendship often, especially because of the type of projects that we do. They're often very personal, or it's something that they are very passionate about, or I am very passionate about, or we're all very passionate about, or whatever. And so I am, and I schedule shoots and meetings, weeks, weekdays, weekends, nights, whenever. It's that's the life of a freelancer. And so it's very easy for my personal life and my private life to blend together. Well, when you then take writing, and writing is not making me a single cent at this point. As of February the 3rd, 2021, I have not earned a single dime writing, but I have spent money writing. In fact, I am shelling out around $1,500 next week as my second installment, or my final installment, which is the second installment, for getting my second book in my series edited, developmental edit. But that's the kind of thing that I want to do right by this, right? And I want to invest in the writing that I'm doing now, even though it's not making me any money. This is kind of the way I see this. It doesn't make me money now, but if I ever want it to make money for me, if I ever want to be able to earn a living writing, then I have to treat it like it's earning me a living now. Does that make sense? So I can't wait until selling books is actually working, like I'm actually selling books. I can't wait until I'm generating even a small amount of income to begin to invest time and energy and money into this process if I want it to become successful, if I want my writing career to actually be a writing career. And I'll tell you right now, from the beginning, I would write even if I never got paid. I'm sure I've said that before, and I will say it probably in every video that I put out there, because I love to write. It makes me happy. In fact, I've loved to write for much longer than I believed I had any capacity to write well, I just knew that I loved writing. It was good for my soul. It was good for my spirit. It was therapeutic. It was cleansing. It was something. As a creative person, I need to create something. And writing never stops surprising me. And I'll give you an example of that right now. So I am in the process of editing myself, or rewriting, really. I'm in the process of a rewrite of what is book 3 in my series. And it's all about quality. So when I wrote the first book, I just wrote it and kind of was like, I finished the book, yay! It wasn't the first one that I'd done, but this was kind of like a little bit more personal to me. And that's, well, yeah, it's true. It's also cheesy as hell, but it's the truth. So yeah, this was a little bit more personal to me, and I wrote it, and it was very raw and kind of in a raw state because of the nature of where it came from and what it was. So I had edited it, what I considered editing it, but it was very, very flimsy editing looking back. So then when I got to the second book, what was the second book in the series at that time? So the first book is The Scarecrow Hunters. The second book was The Singing Bones. And I wrote that. That was from ground zero. I may not be using that expression correctly. It was from nothing. I was writing that from scratch. The first book, I had a dream that was the impetus to write the story. I had written it as a short story. It evolved over the course of pretty much like a decade until it actually became a novel eventually. And so it was kind of like a casserole made up of leftover ideas or rewarmed ideas. We just kept adding like cream or something so that it wouldn't be dried out. I have no idea. But, if you like to warm up food and whatever. But that was how the first book was. And it was so close to my face. My nose was smashed against it like this. I couldn't see it. I was too close to it, which is why I hired an editor. And she was wonderful, like wonderful. It was liberating. She was also brutally honest about what did not work, which is what I needed. which is something that's another one of the challenges. I guess I'm talking about challenges today. That's the theme of this wandering focus video. It's a good name. Took me, 4 of these to come up with a name? Silly. Fuck you, Eric. What? No, what was I talking about? Yeah, having an editor was amazing. I think that was one of the biggest hurdles. One of the biggest challenges at the beginning was trying to discern whether or not I was any good at writing. That is very subjective. And I will go ahead and tell you, I am talking specifically to you. If you are an aspiring writer, you cannot tell if you're any good at it. Because everything you write, you're likely to love because it came out of you. Now, there are those writers who are very, very critical, very, very self-critical. I used to have a friend, we would write and kind of read each other's stuff, and she was hypercritical of every word she wrote. And I was the exact opposite. I would put words on the page, I would read over them, that was my edit, and then I would release them into the world like wildfire. That's the way I saw it. It was raw, it was unfiltered, it was crap. It was crap is what it was, because it was, I had this arrogance that I didn't need to really work at making the writing good. That it was either good or it wasn't, and that's false. That is wrong. That notion is completely ridiculous. And writing is not the first thing that I've had that idea about before. But yeah, what was I talking about? Fuck me. Oh, so I learned that raw talent is valuable. You do need an element of raw talent if you're going to be an artist, right? There are people who love to sing, and who dedicate themselves to master the skills of singing, but they have no raw talent, and they will never be able to sing, because when they open their mouth and make sounds, it sounds like 3 cats caught in a sound loop of scratching fingernails on chalkboards. I don't know what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm saying. You know that those people in your life, they love to sing, they think they can sing good, but they just suck, right? Yeah, those people, right? So you do need raw talent, some level of talent. Challenges, Jesus Christ, how did I start talking about singing, motherfucker? Here's some of the biggest challenges. I'm just gonna list these, right? I'm just gonna list these challenges. I started this video by talking about how I just did something that fried my brain. All right, so writing the books is actually the easiest part for me. Now there's probably some of you out there who has great ideas, but getting those ideas organized and on paper, that's where you struggle. I actually have some thoughts on organization, on how to track your thoughts and all those things, just some tools, right, to do that. And that would help, that keep those, ideas, especially if you're working on a series, because that gets complicated. I mean, and you're building in nuances. So I don't know if I've ever said this. Of course I have. I've repeated it. I've probably said it 12 times in this video. I haven't in this video, but I have in other videos, I'm sure. I'm writing a fantasy series. In particular, I would call it a horror fantasy series. And it's this vast land, and there are multiple regions. And so there are different dialects from different regions. There are subcultures that have even different dialects further. It's like the real world. I live in the South. I'm from Georgia. And if you come to Georgia, you'll realize I don't sound like I'm from Georgia. People from Vidalia ask me where I'm from. I'm from Vidalia. I was born in Orlando, but I've lived in Vidalia since I was 6 years old. But people here ask me where I'm from because I don't say Vidalia. I'm from Vidalia. Where are you from? So this here is a pretty standard Southern accent for somebody who lives in this area. Just a good old boy, just somebody out in a pickup truck. This is what they sound like. But then there's the old Southern that was like this. This is more old Atlanta. You got your senators and your congressmen. They talk a lot like this. They're a little bit slicker, a little bit maybe whatever. This is Savannah, maybe. I guess this could be Savannah. And then you got your straight up backwoods, your guys who rarely see the light of day because they live so far back in the woods. You got these guys. You barely understand the words they're saying out of their mouth because they're just, it's almost like scrambled eggs. Like their words are scrambled eggs. That's what it's like. So you've got all these different dialects just within the South, and those are just three off the top of my head, right? So, and then you've got different ethnic dialects from the South. So, on top of, I was just pretty much just doing white people right there, you know? So you have all of this variety in a very specific area. So I'm writing a series that I want to feel authentic. And one of the ways that it feels authentic is that the people speak like the people from where they're from. And sometimes they speak like a subgroup of people from the world they're from. So keeping track of those speech patterns, and if one character has a certain tick and they use certain words over and over, that's the kind of thing and of course I'm saying that helps make those characters authentic and believable and relatable and all that shit. But I don't know, because none of you have read my book yet, any of them. So who knows if it's any good, but I think it is. So you may find that organization is harder for you. You have an idea, but executing that idea and getting on the page, that's the tough part. Well, that's one of the things that maybe I will help show you that how I do it in this video series called The Wandering Focus. Maybe you could share some of your tricks that you've learned that I don't know. So here are some of the challenges that I face. Number one, I'll tell you, I'm just going to go ahead. Spoiler alert. I'm 24 minutes into this video, so there's no spoilers here. This is the end of the video. I've got 30 minutes. This is the fucking end of the video. But the thing that fried my brain today is I just watched a live webinar with Reedsy.com on how to launch a book, which is something that I plan to do in the fall of this year, September, October. And I plan to do 2 books a month apart. And oh my God, I don't have an online presence. I don't have an email database, an email list. I don't have advanced copy reviews. I have had a few people read the book in its various iterations, so I know I can get some reader reviews from them. But I don't even know how to begin. So I watched this video, this live, I don't know what the word is. It's a very simple word, the live cast from Reedsy on how to do that. And it was very informative. And what it really proved to me is that I am way in over my head. That it doesn't matter if the book that I'm writing is literally the best thing since The Lord of the Rings was published. Doesn't matter how good the book is if no one reads it, right? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I am a genius if no one gets their hands on their book. And I make a joke a lot to people who know me and who hear me talking incessantly about writing the series, that I just assume that my book is going to become very, 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 very popular after I'm dead. Because I really don't have a lot of confidence that it's. I do think that I can earn money writing. I do feel confident of that at this point. What I don't feel confident of is that I can earn enough money writing to do it full time, which is what I'd love to do. But we're going to get there, and I have a plan. Within 5 years, I want to be generating an income through writing. I want it to at least represent a significant portion of my income. I mean, 25% is significant to me. Within 7 years, I want it to represent most of my income, and within 10 years, I'm going to be just writing books all day in my underwear. I don't really know what is realistic. That's another challenge. I don't know what is realistic, but as far as goal setting, I don't know what is a realistic goal, but I set goals because I need goals. I need steps to work toward. I look at trying to get, having 2 books ready to publish, one September 1st and one October 1st. That part is easy. I have an illustrator who is illustrating. My editor has edited both books, has done an edit on both books. I'm going to get them proofread. There's no problem there. There's no problem with those parts. I'm doing the layout myself because I do graphic design. None of that is challenging. I mean, it takes time, but it's not a challenge. But finding readers is a challenge, and Reedsy and Publisher Rocket, I think. I can't remember. Something else that I learned about today in this webcast. Webcast, that's the word. So it was kind of right, cast. They're there to help people like me find readers, but it's still a lot of work. And so now, I've already said that one of the challenges is balancing my professional paid life and my private life with my writing life. I treat writing as if it is my career or a portion of my career, because I want it to be a portion of my career that's paying my bills one day. So I have to treat it like it's doing that now, even though it's not. But also, I have to have an online presence. I can build an author's website. That's easy. I have supplemental content that I've actually removed from different versions of these books that are side stories or whatever that would make great additional content on my website. But I have to edit those. I have to polish those. I can't put shit like that on my website in hope that people will just assume that my books are going to be of higher quality, right? I had to restart my camera because someone has been talking so much. So much talking. So before I put something on my website, it needs to be good, right? If the writing, the quality of the writing that I'm putting on my website doesn't reflect the quality of the writing of my books, then I'm misrepresenting myself, right? Like, doesn't that make sense? Seems to make sense to me. I'm all ears. Love to hear your opinion. I certainly don't want to put subpar content on my website, and I don't want to put spoilers on my website that are going to give away critical aspects of the series. But that is time consuming. It's time consuming to create content and to polish that content. I'm not going to pay my editor to edit a short story that goes on my website. Now later, if I have a series of 8 short stories or whatever that are loosely related or directly related to the series I'm working on, sure, I may collect those and get my editor to edit them and sell them as a collection of short stories in the world of the fantasy series. That would be great. I could do that. Totally. Yeah, why not? I'd love to do that, but I'm not going to pay my editor to edit those because I can't afford it. Now, when my writing is earning a living, when my writing is earning me money, that's a possibility, but not now. I can't afford that. So it has to take time. I have to invest the time to polish that myself. I use an app called Pro Writing Aid, which is a fantastic app that really helps me clean up my writing. I have a beta reader who wants to read everything I write. I feel lucky to have a single beta reader. I feel like I need 10 to get the feedback that I need. But still all of that, even sending it to my beta reader and running it through Pro Writing Aid and then rewriting it or polishing, all of that, it takes time. Basically, it would take at least a couple of days, 2 or 3 days, to get a short story ready to publish on my website. 2 or 3 days. Listen, right now, I can only really qualify 2 or 3 days of writing per week total. And I'm trying to get books ready for publication. If I add 2 or 3 more days in a week, I'm writing full time, and I can't do that. I have to make a living. So that's a challenge. Knowing what to post, what not to post, how to post it, when to post it. Oh, I hate social media. I'm going to have to join Facebook groups in order to find readers. I don't want to because I hate Facebook. Not because I hate the people on Facebook, although there is a link between the two. But, I hate the digital era. I hate it. I hate it. I do. I hate living in the digital era. And even as I say that, I know that I live in the digital era, and that is the only reason I can self-publish the way I can right now. So it is a catch-22. It's a double-sided coin. It's all those other cliches that I can't think of right now. That means the exact same thing pretty much in this case. Another context, I mentioned this a minute ago, is that I have a beta reader. I actually have 2 beta readers. So my illustrator is also a beta reader. I have a friend in Germany, word up, German woman. She likes to remain anonymous. That's a German word. It means anonymous. The German. We will reference her as the German. So the German, she reads everything I write, and she gives excellent feedback because she has no problem being very, very clear and very honest. And she calls me out on things like POV or showing versus telling, or telling versus showing, in my case, sometimes. She calls me out on characterization because she's invested in these characters. She knows them as well as I do. She doesn't know their story past what she's read, but she knows their stories up to the point that that I've written so that she could read it, and so she will question their actions and their motivations. She will question if they react a certain way, or if they're developed enough, or if, all of those things. She's great at that. She's fantastic. Having that is perhaps one of the most invaluable things that a writer can have. And that's what you get from beta readers, I think, is one of the things that you get from beta readers. My illustrator is also a beta reader, but he doesn't read for those kind of meticulous details, right? He's reading for just general impressions and just overall how the writing impacts him emotionally. And that is a complete, and I get that from the German as well, but it's a very different kind of critique when someone is reading the book as kind of a macro view rather than a micro view. I mean, they're invested in every page, but not in every word, not in every comma, not in every extra space that's not supposed to be there, right? It's a different kind of reading. I'm looking for a beta reader who reads specifically the genre that I write, in this case, horror fantasy. Because having someone who reads that kind of literature, who can see the tropes, who can recognize them, who can call me out on them, who can tell me if they work or if they don't work, or if they feel fulfilled or not fulfilled. Because writing in a genre means that you're kind of committing to fulfill a certain unwritten contract between you and the reader. And changing that up and playing with the tropes and kind of manipulating those things, that's all part of it, and that's all part of the fun of writing. But again, one of the challenges is knowing whether or not what you've written works. Doesn't matter if the story is authentic, if it's just not interesting, right? And I hate the way things are often hyped up in movies and TV series and books, in book series where, you can clearly see that they're amping this up just for the dramatic effect, or to add action or add adventure, or, and that annoys me. It frustrates me because I want the creator to trust me as a consumer to not need hype, right? But at the same time, it would be stupid to write a murder mystery if there was no mystery, right? Right. So that is a challenge. really knowing if I am catering to the needs of my readers, knowing if my writing works. Hiring an editor was, it was the best because she works in the industry. She understands how this stuff is supposed to work. That's why I pay her. It's not just to edit words on a page, but also to edit words on the page in the right way for the medium of publishing. Fiction. So getting her feedback has been fantastic. But having readers, that basically means that I have 3 readers and one of them I'm paying to read, So I need more. That's another challenge. I need to have a fan base, but how am I supposed to get a fan base? That's why I'm recording these videos, as if that's going to make anybody want to listen to me. How do I even begin to social media, socially media market? How am I supposed to market myself on social media? How do I even begin? I don't fucking know because I hate social media. Fun side note, I manage social media for some of my clients. Don't tell them. Don't tell them how much I hate it. They all know. That's why my brother does it. I pay him to do that part of that wing of the business. It's a very small business. That wing is like a shoebox. I once was telling a friend that I was going to hire an editor, and he said, to read your book? And I said, yeah. He said, that sounds like a scam. And I said, okay, as someone who read every paper you ever wrote in college and edited it for you, the hours of my life that I can never get back because of that waste, that colossal waste of time because you were practically illiterate. From my perspective, paying someone to edit my book is not a scam. It is an absolutely reasonable and necessary thing that I need for this book project. All right, I'm just rambling now. There are other challenges. Maybe I'll do another one of these. I don't know. What are your challenges? What were your challenges, and how did you find ways to overcome those challenges? I will tell you this. This is my plan. Money is a challenge, as I just said, and because of COVID, yay, COVID, thank you, pal. My business was crushed in 2020, and I'm trying to rebuild it this year, 2021. Hopefully I will. But that's a coin toss. Who knows if it's going to be successful or not? If I can rebuild it, I can tell you I do not want to spend another 4 years pouring into my freelance business when my passion is writing, right? I'd rather get an office job than spend 4. That's what I did the first time. It took me 4 years to get my business built up to where it was actually profitable. And then that motherfucker, COVID, came in and just wiped it out. Fuck you, COVID. So I'm not going to invest 4 more years in rebuilding a freelancing business. Not going to happen. I'm giving it this year. And either that works or I find a normal job. One of the plans that I have is to hire a freelance marketer through Reedsy. That's where I found my editor. Love her. I don't need an illustrator. I don't need a cover designer. I have that in a friend that I'm actually contracting with, who gets me and my vision already, and that's perfect. But Reedsy has been great about finding an editor, and so I'm going to reach out to freelance marketers, and see if they can help me. But that's going to require money. But that is my plan, and I'm hoping that I can learn by hiring a marketer for the first 2 books this year. I can learn from what they do. I'm afraid that the first thing they're going to tell me is you can't publish these books until you've built up an email list, and that's going to take you at least a year. And I'm going to say, eat a dick, and I'll be talking to myself because I'm the one who hasn't tried any of that shit. I've been so focused on, creating the lovely thing that I have not promoted myself or even positioned myself to promote myself. And I've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September. I've got 6 months. 6 months to do that. 6 months. You think I can do it? I don't. But that's kind of my plan right now. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. And when I reach out to the marketers and they tell me, Eric, you can't do this in 6 months, then that's when I'm going to say, Eric, you can eat a dick. It's on me, right? All right, that's it. That's all. I'm not saying anything else. Not another word. I am not going to say another single word. Peace out, home skillets. I said another word.